All right, let's welcome back to Straight Fire. Listen, the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. We thought it was going to be a long time before they got here. After Tom Brady left and Belichick left, and now they're back with Drake Maye and Mike Vrabel. So we got to bring in my main man, Aaron Schatz, who is a long-time Patriots guy. Aaron, how excited are you that the Patriots are back playing in the Super Bowl?
It's kind of wild. I'm not quite sure it's quite hit me yet because we're all so used to it. Oh, the Patriots are the Super Bowl, but this is just a completely different team. Like they went into the dregs and then rebuilt so fast
Yeah.
and went from 4-13 to 14-3. It's kind of wild. It's a little crazy.
Now, I will say that this is a perfect timing for everything with Belichick getting snubbed of the Hall of Fame. Obviously, we'll get to the game, and Kraft didn't get into the Hall of Fame either. I'm just curious. I haven't seen you really chime in on this. I don't know how much of a Hall of Fame guy you are. I was taken aback by the Belichick news, as was Patrick Mahomes and LeBron and Tom Brady and others. What do you make of this Kraft Belichick Hall of Fame snafu, shall we say?
I feel like my man Mike Tanier has said all the things that I would say about this. He follows the Hall of Fame more than I do. I think
Mhm.
for the most part, this is about the voting rules. And the
Mm,
voting rules don't make sense. And the
yeah.
constant moves that the Hall of Fame has made to make fewer and fewer people get into the Hall of Fame of a sport where there are 22 people on the field at all times, and there really need to be more Hall of Famers, not
Mm.
fewer. So I think everybody will vote for Belichick next year, and having been completely embarrassed by this. Kraft, I have no idea. But whether Belichick gets in or not should not be tied to whether Ken Anderson and Roger Craig get in. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, make it make sense. But it just looks goofy when they're like, yeah, you got to go Roger Craig over Bill Belichick, like on no level. I mean, you're the guy who says coaches and quarterbacks mean everything, like a running back.
Yeah,
It was just goofy.
but I understand it because the idea is when you get a shot to vote for one of these classic players, you don't know when you're going to get that shot again because the rules are so like Byzantine
Yeah.
that it's like, oh, this might be the only chance to put him in Hall of Fame. They need to make it easier. For one thing, like they made it so they're not even sure there's going to be five of the regular guys who make
Oh,
it in
jeez.
every year. There have to be at least five of the regular guys who make it in every year. Otherwise, you get these huge backlogs of wide
Yeah.
receivers and like just so many guys who are waiting and waiting and
Mm.
waiting to get into the Hall of Fame.
Are you surprised Eli Manning did not get in?
No, I mean Eli is a whole debate
Oh
about,
yeah.
the fact that he really wasn't that good during his career except for like one season during the regular season, but obviously he's got the two Super Bowl runs. But part of the story with Eli is the same thing. It's that these guys are competing with each other and guys have to wait to get in because other guys have been waiting for a long
Mm.
time.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the game. It's kind of a weird one. I don't think anybody had Seattle, New England go into the Super
I
Bowl at the
believe
beginning of
this
the
is the
season.
biggest long shot Super Bowl of since they started tracking what the preseason
Wow.
odds were. The Seahawks were 60 to 1 and the Patriots were 80 to 1.
Wow. Now, what makes it even stranger, neither made the playoffs last year. And dare I say, Aaron, I don't think either of these teams are great. I certainly don't think the Patriots are great. This is the craziest stat I've heard on the Patriots. So they played 17 regular season games. Have you noticed 11 of those games were played against teams that ended up losing their coach, either firing or quote unquote parting of ways? 11 of 17. Now, I know some of your numbers say this was the weakest schedule, maybe of the century. What do you make of the Patriots schedule?
The Patriots schedule was, in fact, the weakest schedule of the century. It really was. It was the weakest since the 1999 Rams.
Mm.
And that's okay because
Yeah.
by the end of the year, they were stomping on those bad opponents, right?
Mhm.
The thing about the Patriots this year, besides the schedule, is that they got better as the year went along. So by the end of the year, they were a top team once you take those first couple weeks and kind of move them out of the equation.
So they got better. We checked that box. But in the playoffs, Drake May's numbers, I think he's at 58%
Not good.
completions. Like people don't want to accept. They were like, well, the weather. I mean, it was only one bad half against Denver. I don't recall Houston's game being in terrible weather, although
No, there
CJ
was a little
Stroud had
snow, but not that big a deal. Mostly
was
their defense just came to play. Their defense played
yeah.
really well in those playoff games, but you are absolutely right. Drake Maye has not been as good in the playoffs as he was during the regular season. It's absolutely true.
Now, what can we attribute that to? Just playing elite defenses? By the way, Seattle has an elite defense. Or is it that, young quarterbacks in the first playoffs kind of stink? Or is the shoulder an issue? I don't, any of it, all of it?
I think it's more the elite defenses, and in particular with Houston, Will Anderson owning Will Campbell.
Mhm.
And Seattle, the one thing Seattle doesn't have is they don't have an edge rusher as good as Will Anderson or Nick Bonito to go after Will
Mhm.
Campbell on that left side. But yeah, some of it is just look, May only played one regular season game against a team that was in my top 10 for pass defense, and that was Cleveland. And we had a very good game against Cleveland, but Cleveland's a different issue because you know they're not going to score against you.
Yeah.
Suddenly you get to the playoffs, and every team he's playing is a top 10 pass defense.
Mm.
And yeah, he hasn't been as good.
Now, it's interesting. I saw the stat that Mike McDonald, the Seattle coach, has been so good against young quarterbacks. In the last 2 years, quarterbacks under the age of 25, they are 1-9 against McDonald, and they have 7 touchdown passes and 12 picks, and they've been sacked 30 times. The only quarterback under the age of 25, I don't know why they picked 25, maybe because it makes it look good, to beat Mike McDonald's defense is Brock Purdy. Now, is that, do you think, attributed to McDonald's schemes and the confusion of where the pass rush is coming from? Or is that just, yeah, he doesn't mean much. It's young quarterbacks. They always stink.
I think some of it is probably a combination of those. Some of it is just that Seattle was so good this year that they beat everybody.
Mm.
And some of it is maybe that he is more of a scheme guy, right? The difference between the Houston defense and the Seattle defense was that the Houston defense was like, we have these great players. And the Seattle defense has really good players, but it feels much more like it's a scheme defense. It's based on the scheme. I will say, you said you don't think the teams are that good this year. My numbers say Seattle is a historically good team. They have
Wow.
been really dominant all season long against good opponents. They had one loss to Tampa Bay where they really outplayed the Buccaneers and just got unlucky and lost that game. Obviously, they had the 14 wins during the regular season.
Mhm.
They are one of the top teams in DVOA history, and their game
What?
against San Francisco in the divisional round was the best single game of the year by any team.
Okay, hold on. Now, is this overall team or specifically defense?
Overall, but because of defense. Their defense is like 13th best in the database back to 78. Their
Whoa.
special teams were second in the league this year behind the Jets, who the only thing they could do was special teams. And their offense is above average, but not great.
Interesting. So if I ask you who's the best player on the Seattle defense off the top of your head, who you got?
Witherspoon.
Whoa, oh, that was that quick. Okay. Because I'd see this team as like really good defensive players, but no elite, like you said, no Will
Leonard
Anderson,
Williams.
Leonard Williams, DeMarcus.
Yeah. Lawrence is a little older, but yeah, still really good. I think the top two are Witherspoon and Leonard Williams. Also, Ernest Jones, I think, had a
He's
very
had a
good
good,
year.
yeah, that's interesting.
Linebacker.
So, like, for instance, you say they're one of the top teams overall DVOA. Do you have them ahead of, say, last year's Eagles team?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Because
in defense, even in defense, although last year's Eagles team, that defense wasn't that good in the first 5 weeks. From week 6 on was when that defense was
yeah, well, I think they had two
so good.
rookies, right?
So I
Mitchell and,
think
and
last year's
Virginia.
Eagles, if you do week 6 to the end of the year, would be a little bit better than this year's Seahawks.
Yeah, they had a lot of young guys. I mean, Jalen Carter was coming into his own.
Right, and
Um,
Dijon was a rookie, and Mitchell was a rookie as well.
yeah, interesting. But I guess specifically, can you tell what it is about the McDonald's scheme that is so perplexing? Because I'll tell you right now, Matt Stafford had no problem with it in the final 2 games. I think he had like 8
No,
touchdowns,
Stafford
700
kicked it,
yards.
he kicked it all around. Yeah, there's no question about that. I think blitzes come from different places. Guys you don't expect come. The fact that they can play nickel all the time, whether you run or not, means that they don't have to worry about what your offensive personnel is going to be. They are always in nickel, Emin goes back and forth between slot corner and linebacker. They're really good against the run, even from nickel. It just gives them a lot of flexibility.
So how do you think McDaniels attacks this? And is there any equivalent that they've seen similar to this kind of 100% nickel defense?
I don't think so. If there's an equivalent, it's Derwin James being a little equivalent to
Mm.
Emin, I guess, in the sort of flexibility that he provides. But I mean, I think they like to spread the ball around, right? The Seahawks are very so heavily on JSN. The Patriots are more of a spread the ball around. They'll run. The Seahawks do not allow explosive runs. So if you're waiting for the big Travion Henderson run, keep waiting. It's probably not coming. They'll spread the ball around. They'll count on May to get it out. I think quick game is a good way to attack the Seattle defense. Although they were good against quick game because they were good against everything. There's not any real tight ends, I guess. They were
Yes.
16th in DVOA against tight ends. So you should, see a good amount of Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper.
Yes. So yeah, I did bet some Austin Hooper last touchdown, Hunter Henry overs just to get it because that's the one way you can attack it. But here's my thing. If I'm talking about this and you are, clearly Seattle knows what's coming. McDaniels knows that. It just feels a little too obvious, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing because by the time you get to this point of the season, you know what your own weaknesses are, but they're
Mm-hmm.
still your weaknesses. It's hard to completely paper over them, right? Emin, for all the flexibility that he gives them, got targeted a lot this year, and he was covering the tight ends a lot of the time. Um, so I think that's still a weakness of theirs, but there's not a lot of weaknesses. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of things you can attack on the Seattle defense.
All right, so we covered the Seattle defense. Let's go to the Patriots defense. I saw this stat that they have given up 2 touchdown drives in the postseason, 36 drives and only 2 touchdowns allowed. Now, some of that is, well, the Chargers didn't have their tackles, which we knew.
Yep.
Houston, they lose their tight end Schultz in the first half. They lose their left tackle. They didn't have Nico Collins, so it's just disaster waiting to happen. And Denver had a backup quarterback who really didn't have any business starting that game. How much of that is circumstance and how much of it is, wow, the Patriots defense is just spectacular right now?
It's a mix. It's a mix. The important thing is how they're getting there because they're getting there through blitzing, and Darnold is weak against the blitz.
Mm.
Okay. Darnold was like 23rd in DVOA against blitzes this year. And even against the Rams in the NFC Championship game, when he played well overall, he still was not that good against the blitz. If the Patriots are going to win this game, the storyline probably is that they blitz the heck out of Darnold and they turn him back into the seeing ghosts guy. That is, I think, much more likely than the idea that Drake Maye, MVP candidate or not, outscores by going wild on the Seattle defense the way Stafford has. I don't think that's likely.
Is there a world where this, hey, you should bet no touchdowns for the entire game because this could just be too, let's be
I think
real.
that's pretty unlikely. I mean, the odds probably say it's pretty unlikely,
Yeah.
but I think it's pretty unlikely.
Well, yeah, that's the reason you kind of bet it, right? Because hey, I don't know. I mean, Sam Darnold's not a top 10 quarterback in this
I mean,
league.
I like under more than I like over. I'll tell you that.
Yes. Well, the under's plummeting now. I see 45. But I don't know. Like everybody's waiting for Darnold to turn back into, oh, that's the guy who saw ghosts, was
Yep.
terrible with the Jets. He's with the bounce around the league guy. Like, I mean, the problem is if you've been betting that this season with Seattle, you're losing a lot of money because it just hasn't totally happened or the defense has bailed him out. But I don't know. Vrabel's a pretty sharp guy. You can't run on this Patriots defense. So Darnold's going to have to win the game.
Yeah, you can run on them. They're not a great run defense, not like Seattle is. They're good
No.
run defense.
Well,
Um,
apparently the numbers are much better since Williams got back from injury.
yes, and also they're better when they have Robert Spillane in the middle, who also was injured for
Yeah.
those games like when Williams was out. Um, I think that there's a good chance that Darnold doesn't turn back into the seeing ghosts
Mm.
guy, that he has a fine, reasonable game. Although again, like I think I like the under in this game.
Yeah.
But if there's a story, the most likely storyline of how we're talking about this game the next morning, if the Patriots win, the most likely storyline is the blitz got to Darnold.
Yeah. See, I told you Sam Darnold's not that guy. That you're right. That's probably the most likely. I did see that of the 7 most likely MVPs, None of them are Patriot skill position guys other than Drake May.
Yeah, and
It's
I
like
think
people
that
just
makes
don't.
sense given the way that they spread the ball around and use two running backs.
Yeah, what is that? Why are they still using two? Stevenson kind of the bulldozer, and Travion is more of the quick hit guy, the catch passes out of the backfield
Travion's
guy.
more of the boom and bust, break it long speed guy, and they're both good with blitz pickup, so that's not it. It's, I think, it keeps guys fresh to use the two running backs. Seattle uses two, except one of them got injured, so now they're stuck. No Charbonnet.
Yeah, I thought that would be a big problem against the Rams, because Charbonnet's the better blitz pickup guy, and they were issues on the at left tackle, but they held up pretty well. I mean, Darnold had a strong game, helped obviously by the fumbled punt, which flipped the game.
Yeah, but that is one of those totally random. It's funny. I
Yeah.
talk so much about Seattle's advantage in special teams, but Seattle didn't do anything to get that. They
Yeah.
just sat there and let it happen.
Yeah.
It was just the Rams being bad. But no, it makes sense to me that you don't see any particular Patriots receiver or running back having a big game. I sneaky like Kenneth Walker as an
Yep.
MVP possibility because of the idea that, if both quarterbacks have mediocre games, maybe Walker's running out the clock in the fourth quarter and gets a lot of yards, and they don't want to give the MVP to Darnold.
Yeah, it is. It's a strange Super Bowl. Is there any data on offensive coordinators like Clint Kubiak who take a job contingent, as soon as the Super Bowl is
Oh,
over?
that's a
Is
good
there
question. No, no,
any
I don't
his
have any data on it.
because I don't know that. I mean, again, his mindset is, man, this is my first head coaching job. Wow, I got to build a staff. I got to reach. So, like, again, I know there's a lot of time, 2 weeks, plenty of time, but he's also got to be reaching out to people, and that's time
Yeah.
away from game planning for Vrabel's defense.
I gotta think these guys are pretty professional. He knows what this is. It's the Super Bowl. He's
Yeah.
not, I can't imagine he's taking too much time away, but it's an interesting question.
Um. I'm just overall. Yeah, I guess it's a tough one for you, but like, my kids are like, wait, who's in the Super Bowl? Seahawks. People don't really know this team that well.
They don't
Again, they
have
didn't.
big name players. They don't have stars. There's no one on the Seahawks who's a personality, right? Their best player is JSN. What do you know about JSN's personality? I know he's kind of religious, but I mean, I don't really know. I don't really know much about the guy. He had a brother who played baseball. I don't know much about the guy at all. I don't know much about Leonard Williams. I don't know much about Devin Withers. Like, these guys are not personalities. They're like the opposite of the 85 Bears.
Mm. It's like the Legion of Boom. When they showed up at the Super Bowl, they're talking trash, hitting.
Yes.
Everybody knew them. Even you look at like the last 5 Super Bowls. Matt Stafford finally. Like, that's one of the things I'm like confused with. It's like, what's the best storyline here? Sam Darnold's redemption? I
The
mean,
big
listen, let's Sam
Darnold's
Darnold,
redemption, May reestablishing the Patriots after
but
such a
he's
short
so.
time.
I know he's your guy. He's so boring and dull. He married his like middle school sweetheart.
I
He
know,
doesn't.
but he's still, I mean, the biggest personalities in this game are May and Stephon Diggs.
Oh, Stephon Diggs is insufferable with this four kids with 4 women and like
Yeah, but I mean, he's
I don't
dating
know.
one of the top musicians in the country.
Yeah,
So
I guess you're right. I mean, overall, so you like the under? I see it's between 4.5 and 5.
yeah,
You're thinking
I like the Seahawks to win and the Patriots to cover.
in a low scoring game.
Yeah.
Interesting. Besides the Super Bowl, real quick, I have Mike McDaniel as the best offensive coordinator hire or the best coordinator hire in the cycle. Any thoughts on that one? Chargers getting a pretty sharp mind for Miami.
You got to remember also they're bringing back the two tackles next year. That Chargers offense should be between McDaniel and his creative run plays, and for Hampton, and then having the two tackles back. I got to think their offense takes a big step
Yeah.
forward next year. They're like a seriously good contender.
Biggest surprise for you in the coaching cycle, whether it's, 10 coaches hired, 0 black guys, whether it's Jeff Halfley to Miami, which that caught me by surprise given his struggles without Micah Parsons at the end of the season. Kevin Stefanski getting another shot. I think it's a good one in Atlanta. Anything jump out at you, Aaron?
I mean, I think that if McDermott had been fired a week earlier, they would have ended up with either Stefanski or Harbaugh in Buffalo. I
Oh,
think Flores would have been a really great candidate, and I just don't know how much the lawsuit plays into the idea that he's not getting a head coaching job. And Mike LaFleur doesn't excite anybody.
Yeah, he was
He
not great
just
with the
feels
Jets.
like generic dude coming out of the McVay Shanahan camp. And I feel a little bit like what the league needs to do is get McVay and Shanahan to hire more African American assistants because
Mm,
that's where all the head coaches are coming from now.
yeah. No, that's a
So
good point.
we need more guys not named Kubiak to run those systems.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kubiak to an extent. Remember, wasn't Kubiak with New Orleans last year?
Yeah, and they
And
were
he was,
really good. And then Carr got hurt, and they went and they just were horrible after that.
yeah, he went from, and I think they fired him, did they not?
I think they
Or
no, they got rid of the whole staff. The Saints,
okay,
right? Because they went to Kellen Moore as the head coach, and he obviously was going to run the offense because he's an offensive guy. So Kubiak doesn't stick around.
right. So a year ago at this time, Kubiak was basically dusted in New Orleans, and now it's like, oh my gosh, the Cardinals and Raiders are fighting over Clint Kubiak. How
Yeah,
crazy is that?
he's done a good job, but it's a combination of he's done a good job and he comes out of this system that we know seems to run really good offenses. And if you're the Raiders and you're going to draft a quarterback number one, it just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It does make a lot of sense. It makes more sense than Mike LaFleur, who I believe has never called plays. McVay
Mm,
calls the plays.
yeah. It didn't go well for LaFleur with the Jets. All right, Aaron Schatz, FTN. Listen, man, congrats on your Patriots getting back to the big game. I don't know. Maybe the Jets can make a playoff appearance at some point, and I can get excited.
Yeah, it's kind of unfair that we've done this while so many other teams are waiting. You know, the Cowboys haven't been to the conference championship game in 30 years or whatever, but
Yeah.
they did go. This is a whole new team. I don't think anybody is left over from the last time that they made the Super Bowl. It's a whole
Yeah.
new team, and they just rebuilt tremendously fast and then had some good luck with who they played in the playoffs. And here we are.
Yeah. All right, Aaron. Have a great one. Enjoy it.
Thanks a lot.